Greetings, Algo Artisans. Today we're going to cut straight to the charts. Take a look here. This is Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin on the 18-hour chart. That means each one of these candles is 18 hours. We see Bitcoin on a massive rally going back to January of 2024 in its current iteration, but truly going back to 2023 if we zoom out. However, let's zoom back in. We got Bitcoin just hanging out right below a very important point. We've talked about this a few times. If you've been watching our videos, you know what I'm talking about. But that important point is 52,000, and that came from very old resistance way back here. It's hard to see in the chart right now. We'll look at it later, but that's what that is. So the question is Bitcoin going to push up and go up towards 53,000 and possibly break it, possibly not? Is Bitcoin going to head back down? We're going to zoom in, we're going to look at that, and we're going to take a look at a very special form of Bitcoin dominance. Okay, so today's show is actually called Bitcoin Explosion is Fueling the Cryptocurrency Rally and the Bull Run is Not Over. So we are going to take a look at a couple of key altcoins, and we're going to do that right now. Before we get started, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow me on X, follow me on YouTube, follow me everywhere you possibly can. It helps us get more of the content out to you. Okay, so just as we were looking at this, I want to go ahead and zoom this in on this Bitcoin chart. Okay, so I'm going to go down to a lower time frame here. So what I've done here is I have zoomed into the 30-minute time frame. That means each of these candles is 30 minutes worth of price action. What you saw before was 18 hours. This is 30. So you're only really looking at 2 or 3 days, really 4 or 5 days of price action. And this consolidation, this price kind of going back and forth right below 52,400 is an important point. We talked about that. What I'm going to do just very briefly is zoom out to the 5-day chart, which is basically the weekly chart, and we're going to come right back to this 30-minute chart. So here we go. So you can see this 5-day chart with all this gobbledygook. You can see price had come down from its all-time highs back in 2022, made its way down to, 15,000 back in 2022, all within a year. Massive fall, then a big rally, more than half the way, almost all the way back up to the all-time highs. However, on the way down, there was a stop-off here, and this is back in December of 2021. Price came down from all-time highs all the way down to 40,000, back up to 52,000. We did talk about this on yesterday's show as well, but just a reminder, that's what's going on. So what I'm going to do is roll back over to that current price action, and then we're going to zoom in back to that 30-minute chart so we can assess what's happening, and we'll go from there. So here we are back on that 30-minute chart looking at that consolidation, and price really is just hanging out where it is. And I can tell you right now on the higher time frame, everything is bullish. Does that mean price is going to go up? It means it probably will sooner or later. There's always that possibility that price goes down and grabs liquidity. We did talk about a lot of this yesterday, but what is different is that price is now in more of a consolidation rather than kind of heading up, heading down, heading up. It's actually telling us that it does want to go up because it is consolidating just below this resistance. That does not mean that it will not head down, grab liquidity like we talked about yesterday in this area, right? And head back up. So this is just a little bit review compared to, say, what we talked about yesterday. This is just an extension of yesterday's show. However, we're going to take a look at some new things. We're going to look at them right now. Actually, we're just going to talk about Bitcoin dominance just for a second so everybody can understand what it was, and then I will give you the special formula for Bitcoin dominance, okay? I don't know very many people who use the special formula, but just for the moment, Bitcoin dominance is the amount of money going into Bitcoin versus altcoins. So if Bitcoin dominance goes up, that means money is flowing into Bitcoin from the altcoins. If Bitcoin dominance goes down, that means that money is flowing into the altcoins from Bitcoin. It is the amount of dominance that Bitcoin is showing in the market. So say from Thursday the 15th at 11:30 p.m. my time, more money flowed into Bitcoin. From, say, February 14th at 8:30 a.m. all the way up until that time, money was flowing out of Bitcoin into altcoins. Now, this does not measure all of the money into the crypto market as a whole and all of the money into out of the crypto market as a whole. It merely compares Bitcoin to altcoin and the flows. Okay, now we're going to give you the special formula. I'm going to type it out on the screen so you can see it, and you can type this formula in where you type your tickers, and that formula is BTC.D divided by 100 minus BTC.D. This formula smooths everything out so that it is makes everything congruent because the market has changed over time. With Bitcoin dominance, you can use the indicators, but you can't really use them as much. But this gives it a sort of congruency that allows us to use those indicators to kind of predict which way dominance is going. Now, this isn't necessarily something I pay very strict attention to. It's a useful tool when you're wanting to know which way the wind is going. And you can see that there is a slight change in the numbers here, right? And because we're doing a division problem, this is going to be mapped in percentages, but you're going to be able to use all your indicators that you see there at the bottom of the screen to sort of predict a little bit more accurately what's going to happen with Bitcoin dominance. Okay, so what's going on with Bitcoin dominance on a high time frame? We're going to go ahead and jump over to the weekly time frame just to see what's happening. Okay, so we're looking at the weekly chart, and all this gobbledygook below is just different factors that I use. I don't use all of it all the time, but it's part of sort of an informal algorithm that I use. And I can tell you right now on the weekly, it is absolutely bullish. Dominance is heading up over time. Now the question is whether or not it is heading up on the short term. We're going to jump down to the 18-hour chart, which basically is my version of the daily chart. And that's fairly bullish. It's actually kind of flat. It's a little bit flat. Overall, it is bullish overall, but it is weekly bullish. So dominance actually is over time going up, but in a shorter term, in the midterm, it is actually flat. And what does flat dominance mean? It means money is willing to flow into the alts. And that means we're probably going to continue to see very strong altcoin action, which is going to lead me to my next chart. And that chart is Ethereum. And then once we take a look at Ethereum, we might have time for Solana. And then we're going to go and take a look at a wider bit of market news. Okay, so here is Solana. Now, Solana is taking a pullback right now, and that's actually a good thing for those who like Solana. I do believe Solana is going to continue to head up. Looking at the daily chart, I can tell you it just is taking a break. And where might it take a break to? We're going to go ahead and map this out right now. A good possible move down to about the 102. It might even bounce right at 100 because that is an important number. All right, we're going to use the fixed range profile here. It's going to give us some volume nodes. And yes, the 618 does map out pretty well. Price might actually only go down to, this is 105. The Fib 618 Fibonacci retracement is down at 102. If you want to know more about these tools, about Fibonacci, about what it is, how it works, how to use it, it's all very simple. I know this seems very complex. It is not complex. And over at algofactory.tech, we can teach this to you. We can do it very quickly. There are university classes online for you to do it on your own, and you can go into our private group that is open all the time, 24/7. You can ask questions. Of course, I do sleep sometimes. It might take me a little time to get back to you, but I'm always willing to either tell you the answer or point you in the right direction. So this kind of stuff helps you predict where price is going in the future, and when you can predict where price may go in the future to a statistical degree of probability, you can make money, you can pull money, extract money out of the markets, and so that is what we do over at Algo Factory. Now, we don't give investment advice, but what we do is give you the tools to create your own way of pulling money out of the market. So what we have is we'll probably go up from here, and I think that a good target for the near term is about 125. We talked about this on the live show this morning. We also talked about 144 being a decent long-term target. It's a 1-to-1 from the current fib extension, and if you take a higher time frame fib extension, it actually is, then it really lines up. I'd say 141, 142 are pretty good targets. So this basically is a bit of a freebie, if you will. All right, let's take a quick look at Ethereum. That was Solana. We jumped straight to it, so we're going to go to Ethereum, and then we're going to cover just a little bit of news. Look, Ethereum is just mobbing up right now. Very strong, and to go to the past, if you're looking for sort of a peak where Ethereum might find some trouble in the near term, I would be looking at the prior structure up here at about 3,600. That's what I would look at. And Ethereum did start to build a bit of a range in this lower area here. And let me go ahead and just mark that range out for everybody so it's very easy to see. So there's our range that price could always come down to if there is some interruption in the market, but then you do have a little bit of price action right here that started to range out and it didn't stay there very long. Price always could make its way back into that area. And of course, now price is above that and starting to develop some new structure. It may be that we see some kind of range develop up in this area. It's a little too early to call it yet, but if I had to guess a range, I would say we would see a range that is something in here. It could be deeper, it could go all the way down like this, but as it develops, we'll have a better idea once this establishes, and then we'll be able to predict where that might go. But I do like, for my targets right now, I like 3,000 because it's a nice round number and there's a fib extension there, and then I will go ahead and map this out a little bit better here. Give me just a moment. I'm going to take this wider fib here and I wouldn't go all the way up to 3,600 where that resistance is. If I was in a short-term trade, not buying and holding, just a short-term trade, I would look to hop out at about 3,450. 34, right about 3450 is where I'd be on Ethereum. So look, as Bitcoin goes up and as dominance stagnates, a lot of money will probably go to altcoins. I know even Ethereum layer 2s are doing really well. And there are a lot of altcoins that if you go into our private group, we talk about some altcoins that are a little off the beaten path that have made tremendous amounts of money. And I can't really talk about them just yet because we gave them away as gems in the class, right? And that's not investment advice. You got to do your own research, but they are things that I am getting into, and I got into them some time ago. I've made tremendous profit on them. I haven't sold them. I haven't taken profit, but they're just sitting in there because there are cryptos that I buy and hold, and then there's trading, and there's two different baskets, right? So in this case, we're going to go and take a look at what's happening in traditional finance and as it relates to crypto. This is an article from CoinDesk. It says Bitcoin's latest rally is different as Bitcoin rises along the US dollar and treasury yield. This is a holistic look at Bitcoin as an asset class. And this is probably fueled, as this article talks about down here, by moves into the ETFs. So let's just jump into the article here. It says Bitcoin has jumped over 35%. We know that. Dixie MexC, which gauges the greenback's exchange rate against major fiat currencies, has gained 3% this year, with the index gaining around 1% since January 23rd. And this is not common. Usually when the Dixie goes up, Bitcoin goes down. Now, the thing is, Bitcoin is in an expansion phase, so it is keeping up with the Dixie, and in prior years, that hasn't always been the case. In fact, it says it right here, historically, Bitcoin has been negatively correlated with the US dollar, posting sharp rallies only during bouts of dollar weakness. For instance, the Dixie fell 2% under 90 in February 2021 when Bitcoin first rose about $50,000. As the global reserve, US dollar is outsized in international finance and non-bank borrowings. Thus, a strengthening dollar leads to financial tightening worldwide, disincentivizing investment in risky assets like tech stocks, cryptocurrencies, and commodities like gold. So we are seeing something that is behaving abnormally. We're seeing money go into Bitcoin. It says here, we're seeing money go into Bitcoin when the dollar is getting stronger, and that is an uncommon combo. It's not like it's never happened, but it's never happened over time, and it's never happened in a time such as now when we've seen a lot of rate hikes. We've seen just the dollar being very strong in comparison to everything else. So further in the article, it says, Bitcoin's resilience likely stems from strong inflows into US-based spot exchange-traded funds. In the US, nearly a dozen ETFs began trading in the US on January 11th and have since amassed roughly $5 billion in net inflows. So they are saying this is why, and that makes a lot of sense. It also says that China, the world's second largest economy, has been facing deflationary pressures, property market crisis, and stock market meltdown. Per Reuters, Chinese citizens have turned to Bitcoin amid economic malaise. Similarly, Nigeria's ongoing currency crisis and rampant inflation may have spurred currency demand. Said that Bitcoin has always been a safe haven for some and an emerging technology play or risk asset for others, explaining the hedging demand for cryptocurrency. The ETFs don't change that. They just act as a channel, he said. So we are seeing here Bitcoin is a bit of a safe haven, is at least being treated that way. And it's always been that over time. Over time it's been that, but historically when the dollar gets strong, money moves away from Bitcoin. And now we're actually seeing that not be the case. So it's very interesting information here. So if you like what you've seen here, please do all that, subscribe-y, likey stuff, but come over to algofactory.tech. That's algofactory.tech. And we'll teach you all this stuff. We teach you how to predict price. We teach you how we are able to extract money from the market. And it's not a get rich quick. It takes time. It doesn't take a whole lot of money. We're actually very, very affordable, but it just takes dedication and time. And we hope to see you over there. Come on over, trade your job, upgrade your life. See you on the next one. All right, hope you enjoyed the show. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. On the screen there, you can see our website, algofactory.tech. Tap that QR code to take you straight there. I'm also very active on X. That's algo_factory777. We got TikTok and Rumble. In the meantime, we hope to see you over at the website. Come on over, trade your job, upgrade your life. We'll see you there.